Good morning, One Heart, One Mind. It's wonderful to see everybody. And I am going to invite our wonderful guests. Actually, they're more like family now.
Yay!
To kick us off, our musical guests, musical family, to kick us off with a song.
Started alone on the journey of love, turning and turning around on the wheel. With every step, travelers joined us, singing out what can't be concealed. I am the soul of love, the soul of love. I am the soul of love, the soul of love. We are communing with the moon and the stars, but we have not reached the heart of our neighbor. I'm reaching out, no matter how far, to offer relief from the pain of your labors. I am the soul of love, the soul of love. I am the soul of love, the soul of love. I am the soul of love, the soul of love. I am the soul of love, the soul of love. Why dread the spread of darkness when your heart's on fire with endless light? I am the soul of love, the soul of love. I am the soul of love, the soul of love. I am the soul of love, the soul of love. I am the soul of love, the soul of love. I am the soul of love, the soul of love. I am the soul of love, the soul of love.
That was beautiful. And so in keeping with today's message, the continuity of life. It's really talking about that we're just the soul of love of God, just continually expanding forever and ever and ever, as Holmes put it. Thank you. Thanks for kicking us off with that. It's beautiful. And I am going to invite our practitioner of the day, Lissa, our wonderful Lissa.
Hello. I'm just getting into voice.
There you are.
Well, and I am feeling the soul of love for the 4th of July in our country. I tell you, I'm on a little bit of a high because yesterday, considering where our country is right now, I decided I just really wanted to celebrate and be in that space of my own personal feeling for this country. And so that's what I spent the day with. Um, part of Friday, and then yesterday I went into a rabbit hole in terms of I have a book of the genealogy of our family, and I was counting, and I realized I'm the 12th generation in this country, which is a part of why I think that I feel things so deeply about what's going on. But at any rate, I was just looking at it in terms of that sense of continuity and so forth, and looking at these people just going kind of down the line with many of them. And it's like a history of farmers, and then who also had mills on their property. And then when the industrial thing came, they became a mill manager. Um, and but all through you see these little pieces of that they were people of integrity and kindness, um, and then there was one particular person who was a Sunday school teacher in Waterloo, New York, and he had a Sunday school class of 600, and he was beloved by the church, and he also, I forget what he was doing in his other life, but this was his passion, obviously. And when he died, all the he was a mill person, that was it. He was the mill manager, and the whole town shut down and marched to his funeral. And subsequently, the church built a chapel in his name, and they created a stained glass window. And when I was in New York, I tried to find out about it, and I have a book about it. But at any rate, I don't remember what happened to the chapel, but subsequently also everything that was gone. But it was like just that history of people and what they were doing. And so at any rate, and then the other thing that happened was I discovered this thing on YouTube. This, I forgot his name now, but he wrote this book called The Pursuit of Happiness, and he's constitutional scholar and teacher, and he runs the constitutional something or other. But at any rate, essentially, he talked about what the pursuit of happiness was to them. It was not about getting stuff and so forth or feeling good. It was about your inner self. It was about self-improvement, self-awareness. And so at any rate, it was just really exciting to me. And I got the book on Kindle, and he has a lot of good stories in it. And one of them that impressed me because it linked kind of historically. He had one relative who was a cousin of our relatives, who essentially just did everything. You know, I mean, he was a Minuteman and a farmer and other things, and served as a select man in the politics, and you know, just a very full life of service he had. And then subsequently, then I looked down at the bottom. He had 3 children. 2 of them were infants who died at birth, and the third one died at 5. And I thought about, you know, the strength and perseverance and faith that it takes to deal with that in the middle, particularly of a busy life. And that then was re-echoed in John Quincy Adams, who you know, he was a president, but the year that he lost the presidency to Andrew Jackson, and obviously was depressed, that same year his son committed suicide. And he and his wife, obviously, and he started keeping a diary at age 11 in terms of dealing with his thoughts and his pursuit of happiness, which was that sense of pursuing becoming a better person and, becoming a more faithful person, so to speak. But at any rate, it's like after he recovered from that depression, he became the biggest abolitionist in the country. And he became a senator. After being president, he became a senator, and he presented millions of petitions in Congress to end slavery. He even made a petition that the enslaved brought from enslaved people themselves. And so the Senate made a gag rule so that you couldn't present that. And essentially, in the end, he was a person who was very revered by Frederick Douglass, who, as you know, was the Black abolitionist. And so at any rate, and he did a lot of things in Congress. So it was just that sense of this resilience of people who have underneath everything that's going on in their life some essential faith that they can bring up in terms of the moral universe.
I'm listening to our Sunday service, and I wanted to forward it to you because the two musicians talk so good. But anyway, I'll call you back this afternoon after.
Jill, can you mute everybody?
I don't know where that's coming from. Sorry. So anyway,
I'm sorry, that was Betty. I muted her.
okay. Yes. So anyway, it's like being able to see that and then the other thing that was the big point of the author of this book was these people were all from the Enlightenment and from reading the classical people, Cicero, Plato, Epicurus, all those people, and that the ideas that they pulled from that, which were these core ideas, which are core ideas that come on through everything. And that was just and I totally attuned to that because it was that sense of lifelong learning in all, in those areas that you are looking at, which is what I think we're doing, is kind of like a lifelong learning in terms of that spiritual core that allows us to become the best of who we can possibly be. And so anyway, that's my 4th of July, and I really enjoyed it. The other thing, just I still have my mother's prayer book hymnal, and in the hymnal is the hymn that came to me was that hymn, Faith of Our Fathers. But in terms of our praying for peace, we have been talking about that in relation to if we get that peace inside, that it'll go out. And so just the 3rd verse of that hymn, faith of our fathers, faith and prayer shall win all nations unto thee. And through the truth that comes from God, mankind shall then indeed be free. And then
Lovely.
faith of our fathers, holy faith, we will be true to thee till death.
Lovely.
Yeah. So if we then can come together in the spirit of unity and continuity, let's take a deep breath and share our gratitude for those who have come before, who have embodied that continuity of life and eternal holiness, and the perseverance of that pursuit of happiness that is really the inner soul journey. I speak my word in gratitude for all the ancestors of each and every one of us who through time have drawn on that connection to divine wisdom that allows us as individuals, groups, and a nation to meet the challenges of life by rising above them in the persevering pursuit of that state of happiness for all. And so I release my word, and we release it together by saying, and so it is.
Can you see this, Lissa?
Well, I could, except there's some funny thing on my
Do you want me to read it? I'll read it.
yeah, because this thing came, oh, wait, Hold on 1 second. I just lost you. Now I can read it. We have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outer world. A power that can overcome every obstacle in our life and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new light and in new life. And that's Ernest. If I-
For July.
in honor of Ernest, may I just share one last thing, and that was that noting that at the end of their lives, Jefferson and Adams had not been speaking for years, but at the end of their life, they reunited and they spent time talking about things and reading things and continuing their learning. And they were reading. They were like predecessors to Ernest Holmes. They were reading Buddhist literature and Hinduism. And I just found that fascinating. And in light of that carrying on of continuity of
Yeah.
connection.
Thank you. Yeah, it's true. I love it. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for that, letting us think about what came before and how we hold the space and what will come after us.
Right.
All right, Ira and Julia.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
I've been thinking a lot about how often practices do just fall on the same rhythms, the same patterns, the same traditions every time they come together. How you crave that continuity of learning. You crave more when you're in those settings. We forget what we are capable of. So I was very excited to hear the title of your talk this week. I thought it was just something that was really what my heart was needing to hear. So I'm looking forward to it.
When ruthless winds suggest the bitter, renew my courage and consider more than brace against the gale. Somehow I can tip the scales. Come on, let's sing for more than ourselves. Sing a wisdom from our shelves which need our voices to incite a justice not defined by might. The wellspring of all we are, when we are open, wider than canyons, deeper than oceans. The wellspring of all we are, when we are open, wider than canyons, deeper than oceans. Making amends for mistakes and regrets. Join in forgiveness of all that love forgets. I'll be content to play my part, pass the torch from hand to heart. I'll be content to play my part, pass the torch from hand to heart. The wellspring of all we are, when we are open, wider than canyons, deeper than oceans. The wellspring of all we are, when we are open, wider than canyons, deeper than oceans. I'll be content to play my part, pass the torch from hand to heart. I'll be content to play my part, pass the torch from hand to heart. The wellspring of all we are, when we are open, wider than canyons, deeper than oceans. are open, wider than canyons, deeper than oceans.
It's beautiful. Yeah, the wellspring of all we are, that underneath that. Oh, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Everybody can hear me, right?
Yep.
Oh, good. I always like to check. So I just want to say again that good morning, One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And as always, whether you're connecting with us in real time or replay, I'm just glad you're here. And I always trust that something that you experience here is going to benefit and uplift your life in some way. So welcome, everybody. And as everybody before me has said, this morning we're talking about the continuity of life. You know, Ernest Holmes, our founder, he spoke often about this idea that life is a continuous expression of spirit. He believed that eternal expansion is the law, that's just the way the universe works. And I agree. And that there's no break in the continuity of life. You know, probably the most clear and profound statement that he made about the continuity of life is in the Declaration of Principles, which you probably already know. That's the document that articulates all the foundational principles of science of mind. And on this idea, he said, we believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul. I thought about that when your opening song, when you were singing about the soul. The continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. You know, and I just love this idea of the unfolding of the individual soul and our connection to the whole of creation. And then, in the Science of Mind text, he also wrote, and this I think is even more personal. He talked about his own personal feeling about this idea. And he wrote, I believe in the continuity of the personal life beyond the grave, in the continuity of the individual stream of consciousness, glasses might be helpful, with a full recollection of itself. He believed that we remember everything and the ability to know and make itself known. I wish to feel when the experience of physical death shall occur. That which I really am will continue to live beyond the grave. So clearly he believed that our individual consciousness, our stream of consciousness expands and goes on to its next adventure. And then he goes on to explain in that same area, if you're interested at all, it's in his chapter on immortality in the Science of Mind text. He goes on to explain what he expects beyond the grave and why he feels the way he does. But it's clear that he believed, and so do I, in the continuity of life. That when we walk through time and space, when we come to an end of this walk through time and space, I should say, we'll move on to other adventures, you know, to the other expressions of life. You know, when I was a kid, raised in the Catholic tradition, and I was told that I would live forever, I remember thinking, that is a very long time. You know, what am I going to do with all that time? It was almost frightening. And yet in the same breath, it was kind of oddly comforting at the same time. And of course, as I've grown and matured in my understanding of what it means to be an eternal, infinite being, you know, I've come to realize that we aren't suddenly going to become eternal when our bodies die. We are right now in this present moment eternal in our oneness with our source. Our divine nature lives outside the bounds of linear time as we know it right now. You know, that's where we go when we go into our meditations and we go move beyond the body and time and space and our environment. We go to that eternal place where God is, where we are connected. We are one with that presence. And we will always exist in the eternality of God. You know, we are an infinite part of the life of God. God would not be complete without us. And Holmes also wrote, I have to fess up. I have a lot of quotes today. Our minds and spirit are an echo of the eternal thing itself. Oh, I love that. An echo of the eternal thing itself. We are just an expression, a resonance, a mirror of that. And the sooner we discover this fact, the sooner we shall be made free and happy. Yeah, there is a joy in knowing that we are these eternal beings. And I really believe this is true. And for me, this is just such an empowering idea. We're all doing, the divine dance of our immortality and our humanity, but we're always eternal. And everyone has to come to their own understanding of this idea, through our personal experience, through how we feel when we're in that place of eternality and feel that continuity. Because it is an experience. We come into contact with our eternal nature within our own individualized consciousness, but for me, it's clear that life exists on many, many levels. As the master teacher Jesus told us, in my Father's house, there are many mansions. And again, I find this to be a very empowering idea. A reminder that God, Spirit, the all that is, I like Reverend Gisela calls it the isness of God. I love that. That it's at the center of everything. It's within all of its creation. And the form of its expression may come and go within time and space because that's temporal. But the source is changeless and eternal. So I ran across this passage. I'm always looking for stories or something to kind of ground the ideas that we talk about. But I ran across this passage by an author named Joseph Mazzella, who I'd never heard of before, but I found him in this source that I have. Anyway, I just think it's so clear and relatable about the interesting dance that we do, kind of navigating between being human and eternally divine. And I thought I'd share it with you. I have to say that when I think about myself getting older, I think of it in a very positive way. It's like just part of life, just who we are. So I don't bemoan getting older, a little bit like he does in this passage, but it is kind of sweet and comical and humorous in the same breath. So anyway, he writes, I thought I'd just share the whole thing and just read it to you. Sometimes that's just easier. So he wrote, I woke up in a bad mood this morning. I had a fitful night's sleep and my bad back was sore and tighter than ever. My shoulder was starting to feel just as sore too. I tried to stretch them out to no avail and stumbled into the bathroom. I looked in the mirror and saw the pain on my face. I certainly wasn't looking any younger either. My hair was mostly gray and mostly gone on the top. I was getting more and more age spots on my face. My wrinkles were deeper than ever. I'd recently had to get a stronger pair of glasses. My skin was thinner. I griped to God about it all. Why do our bodies start to wear out just when we finally learn how to live? Then suddenly, I felt this thought drop into my mind. The car you drive isn't as important as the person behind the wheel. I smiled at that because I'd had so many old used cars in my life and they all had personality. They all had quirks and troubles and problems. They all required patience and repair, but they always got me where I wanted to go. Now that my body was starting to wear down, Spirit was reminding me that I wasn't this body. I was the driver inside of it. I was the bright, shining soul within. I was the spirit that was both ageless and eternal. And while my car wasn't going to last forever, the driver was. Take good care of this body you drive around in. Nurture it. Keep it in good repair. Make it last as long as you can, but always remember it isn't you. You are the person behind the wheel. You are the loving soul within. You are the child of God, destined for eternal life. Oh, God, I love that. Destined for eternal life. We already are eternal. We're eternal right now, right in this moment. And there's just something so magnificently freeing in knowing that we belong to something that encompasses not only the interconnectedness of our human lives, which I really honor, and I love that you talked about that, Lisa, but all of consciousness itself, that there is truly only one life. And that life is our life. That life is God's life. That life is our life. And that something is infused into everything in our human lives. Everything we encounter is a product of this, an expression of this something. You know, that it's comforting to know that we weren't just dropped off here on planet Earth and we got to figure it out on our own, but empowered to allow this presence and this power that we're one with to organize and direct and enliven our lives with love. There's a continuity that runs through life, that runs through everything in heaven and on earth. You know, I've got another quote. I told you it was a real quote day. I don't know. Some days are just like that. And I like this. This is from a woman that I've never heard of before. Her name is Carolyn Webb. I have a couple of those. But I liked it because it also brought together the fact that while our consciousness is one in God, our bodies are too. That there's a continuity in our bodies that connects us to everything. And she wrote, our bodies express all the history of life on this planet. And that history is also the history of every mountain, every river, every ocean, every pond, and every millimeter of rock and soil, every wisp of water vapor, and every breath of the atmosphere blowing ceaselessly around our globe. In our bodies flows the knowledge of an entire planet, an entire solar system, and the universe. It is nothing short of spectacular. What a cause for celebration. Wow, it's true, you know, and I've said this before, and I love this idea that our bodies are made from the stuff that was born in the incubators of ancient stars. We are not only bound in our consciousness, but consciousness informs all of form. So we're also bound in form. We're one in this. There's a continuity of life flowing through and connecting us all to our Creator, to each other, and to all of creation itself. We're one with the consciousness of the Creator, and our bodies are one with the continuity of life that's come before us, handed down through the history of the passage of time here on planet Earth. Everything in heaven and on earth is one, and everything flows in a continuity and in eternality of life. You know, I just find this just so inspiring and uplifting and comforting. You know, as Lisa was talking about the stuff that's going on in our world right now, it is this idea that life continues to unfold and to expand and move towards a greater expression of love that lets me know that the old paradigm is breaking down, but there is something new underneath that is flourishing and thriving and coming up to the surface. So last Tuesday in our weekly discussion group, and I hope you don't mind that I point you out with Reverend Gisela, it's too late now. We were talking about how most spiritual traditions and philosophical systems teach that there's an all-encompassing presence of God, spirit, whatever presence that particular tradition gives that presence. And Reverend Gisela wisely pointed out and really made me think about this, and I agree completely with her, that New Thought or metaphysics as a tradition takes this idea a little step further. New Thought affirms that because of our oneness to this presence, whatever name we give it, we are empowered. It is the power that we can co-create our experience with this presence that I think sets New Thought or science of mind apart from most traditions. And I really believe this is true. And this is what seems to attract many people to the New Thought traditions. You know, in Science of Mind, we teach that the continuity of life doesn't just mean that we're one with our source, but that we share its nature, that we are one with God's creative law as well, which is always at work and always responding to our thoughts and our feelings and our state of being. We're empowered to be co-creators, not because we change life itself. We don't wave a magic wand, but because either consciously or unconsciously, because we do both, we direct the flow of life. Life is life. God is life. And that is unchangeable. But our freedom to direct life is built into the nature of reality. It's built into our nature. We are the nature of reality. Holmes, over and over again in his writing, emphasizes the freedom of the individual as an essential attribute of the continuity of life and its eternal nature. He continuously says that we have the ability to shape our experience. And I would say that we also have the responsibility to shape our experience. Our responsibility as divine beings that are having a human experience is to make a clear distinction between authentic power and ego-based power. And this is key to understanding and experiencing how we align with spiritual truth and co-create a life that is rooted in love, rooted in purpose, rooted in peace, rooted in divine intelligence. And I think understanding this distinction is how we are empowered. Authentic power arises from an awareness of our oneness with Source, you know, with that eternal life of God, the continuity of that life. It's grounded in spiritual principles. It has no personal agenda. When we're grounded in our oneness with God, we recognize that authentic power can only originate from Source, and that we're vehicles through which this authentic power flows. Again, the master teacher Jesus said, I of myself do nothing. It is the Father within me that doeth the work. You know, it is the flow of the only power there is that moves through us that is doing the work. That is the power. We co-create, but we direct. Here is where we are empowered. An ego-based power is completely different. It has a completely different energy. It's based on the separation that we experience in our humanness. And, you know, I always think that ego gets a little bit of a bad rap because we need our egos to navigate our human experience. You know, it's what's helped us to survive as a species. You know, we got to run from the saber-toothed tiger, and I don't think I'm going to walk down that dark alley alone late at night. You know, our ego tells us this is not okay. Our ego is set up to think in separation and not from unity. You know, it operates from fear and from scarcity and superiority. And our ego is very easily threatened and is always looking for recognition and validation. And a display of our ego is really disempowering to others because it sees itself as separate and in competition with everything else, with everyone else. Our ego is not aligned with universal principles, and it lacks any sustaining, unchangeable, infinite continuity of power or truth. The ego thinks that it originates power, and we don't create. Truth is, we don't create power. We know it. We use it. We direct it. And the motivating impulse behind the ego are the hormones of stress, right? Like, we gotta move, we gotta run from that saber-toothed tiger. And when we're stressed, we're either running, hiding, or fighting. We are not creating. We are not co-creating. We're just managing a dangerous world rather than going within where all authentic power resides. So the metaphysical view is that our task is to surrender to the flow of the power that moves through us naturally by aligning with the deeper truth of who we are, with our divine self, to flow with the power that comes from who we are as individualized expressions of infinite intelligence, love, peace, wholeness, creativity. Authentic power comes from allowing the divine to express through us. Holmes told us that the power that created the universe is the power that resides in us, not as our possession, but as our source. You know, and in our oneness with the whole of life, my good is your good. Our good isn't isolated just with us. It extends to the whole of creation. If I am co-creating from the love and the goodness of that authentic power of the divine presence, then my good's your good, which is wonderful. You know, this is how we change the world, by contributing our own good to the good of the whole. I have yet another quote. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Not much on it. I usually try and get them all out so I can read them, but let's see. Sorry about that. Okay, here we are. This articulates what I was talking about, that my power or my good is your good. The power within me is blessing all mankind and is forever healing all with whom I come in contact. The power within me is God, and it must bless and help and heal all who come near it. Silently, the work goes on, and silently, all are being helped by the inner power which is operating through me. I will give thanks that my power within is silently blessing and helping everyone to whom my thought resides or reaches, I guess it is. You know, and I love that idea that my good is your good, because it is the way that we can contribute to the whole of the collective good of humanity through our individualized point of consciousness. You know, and there's just so many different practices to connect us with that presence and direct that power, you know, that we have within our oneness. You know, so want to play with me for a minute? Let's try this on. If you feel comfortable, you know, take a breath. Either close your eyes or soften your gaze, whatever feels comfortable to you. And draw your attention within. You know, I like to sit in my heart space. I like to touch my heart sometimes. It reminds me that this is the presence and the power. This is my connection to. Whatever works best for you. And breathe. And repeat after me. There is one life, one power, one presence. This life is God's life. This life is perfect. This life is my life now. And just let those familiar words ripple through your being. This life, this presence, this power. It's not happening outside of you. It's expressing as you. And now I invite you to bring to mind a situation. You know, something that's up for you. It doesn't have to be big, it could be just something small. Where you feel that you need to fix it, where you need to worry about it or control it or make it better. You know, something in your personal life or something in the collective experience. No judgment, just awareness. Just think of one thing. Well, just holding that, no judgment, just awareness. Repeat this after me. I release my need to force or control this situation. I release my need to force or control this situation. I surrender to the wisdom of God's power. I let it flow through me now. I am not the source of this power. I am an expression of this power. And I invite you to just feel this power as a presence, as a creative, calm knowing. See it grow, expand, and fill your entire being. Now, one more thing, one last thing. Say this with me. The power that created the stars flows through me now. The power that created the stars flows through me now. It moves with ease. It creates through love. It acts in harmony. It knows what to do and how to do it. And it does it through me. Oh, and so it is. Oh, and we can't forget gratitude. We have to always come back to gratitude. It's this great Eric Butterworth, who we all probably know who Eric Butterworth is, great metaphysical writer. And he said, your Thanksgiving is more than a response to what is happening around you. It is a celebration of the truth, which becomes an assurance of the continuity of blessing leading towards prosperity for all. Oh, love that. Gratitude. So here's the thing. I know I seem to have gone on and on today. The eternality and the continuity of life affirms that we are never stuck, never separate from our source, and we're always capable of starting fresh in this here and now moment. Our power is to co-create. It's not some special power that we have to earn. It is one that we use from our source as we allow it to move through us. You know, it's our birthright as spiritual beings living in a universe of love and law and of infinite possibility. And I think that it's important to remember that our alignment with our authentic power doesn't just affect me, doesn't just affect us. We talked about this last week. What we think, feel, and our frequency contributes to the collective consciousness of humanity. And as the frequency of our own consciousness increases, as the quality of our consciousness reflects the clarity and the humbleness and the forgiveness and the love of the divine presence that's within us, it touches everyone around us. As we shine brighter, our light increases. And it affects everyone. As we become responsible for where we put our attention, what we give our power, or what power we let move, how we direct the power of God moving through us, we contribute to the transformation of the collective experience of all of humanity. We create a new world. This is the way we change the world, through our own individualized consciousness. So let's just sit in that. I kind of already prayed, but I will just say together, that I know for each and every one of us on this call, that this presence flows through us unencumbered, that the divine good that is infinitely available to us and is infinitely expressing through us and expanding through us in the continuity and the eternality of life, that we just say yes to it, that we allow its good to move through us as an expression for all life, for everyone, everything, everywhere. And it is happening right here, right now. And law says yes. And so we just have great gratitude for this truth, for this process, for love, for law, for the reality of the divine moving in and through and as all of us. So with that, I simply say thank you, and so it is. Woo! Got warm in my room. I am going to take me off gallery or speaker view so I can see all of you lovely faces. Oh, so thank you for that. Rob, I think it's you that is doing our conscious giving today. Do you think that's true?
We're going to call that true.
All right.
No.
Here are the ways that we can give. I actually have everything ready today.
Yeah. And I know that that everybody is just watching Michelle get blown away by her observations of the miracle of our existence and our experience. It's always inspirational. We all know that it's good for us to be here. It's good for us to be together, and it's good for us to hear the message, and especially today, which is really good. So if you'd like to help us persist in the universe as an organization, you can give on Venmo. You can send money directly to Michelle's home, and it gets in our bank account that way. And if you've got, we also have our declaration of, there it is, which says, I give with a grateful heart, knowing that spirit is the source and substance of all supply. I joyfully participate in the circulation of abundance. My offering blesses the world and returns to me multiplied. I am grateful and I am prosperous. And so it is. Over and out.
Over and out. I decided we needed something fresh and new, so I put that together. Oh, so let's see. Announcements, Monday night, prayer group, always fun. Tuesday night, we're doing chapter 11 in The Universe Has Your Back. I don't remember the name of the title or the title of the chapter, but I'm sure you know. Let's see, what else? The first Sunday of August, which I believe is the 3rd, we're having our collaborative service at Ulm in La Mesa. And Jim Massipus is going to give his gratitude workshop afterwards, if anybody is interested in staying for that. Let's see, prayer group. I think you guys, it's the 1st and the 3rd. So is it this? It might be this. No, I think it was last week. Last week was the 1st, so it's not this week. So that means that it will be on the 2nd. It'll be not this week, but on the 16th. The Wednesday evening or Wednesday afternoon morning, I guess it's at 10 o'clock. Prayer group with Relaine will be. So that will happen. Can't think of anything else. Yeah, that's all I got. So I'm going to come back to you, Rob, and have you do the benediction, and then we'll let Ira and Julia take us out with their song.
Okay, if anyone would care to join me, as it always feels good to go within, because as we close our eyes, if we so choose, we start to feel an enhanced sense of the presence of God. We start to feel that glowing presence, that radiance, as it reaches us, penetrates us, fills us We can feel that right now, and it is wonderful. And so we reflect on what we have experienced here today, and that we know that the driver is more important than the car. And we know that taking care of ourselves, taking care of the driver, and feeding ourselves is the most important thing. And I think it's also a blessing that we can take care of the car too. We can take care of everything. We can take care of our entire experience. And we know right now that our suspension is healthy. We know that our transmission is doing just great. And every aspect of our life is good. And we are so grateful that we get to specify this, and we simply put it out there, and the Father within us doeth the work. And ain't it fun to watch how, as we declare what is true, that the goodness of our experience is getting better and better, and the goodness of the car that we drive is doing just fine and getting better, and we can feel that that's true. And simply because of we declare that. Isn't it wonderful how we get to watch exactly how God pulls it off? Not our place, and the magic just happens, and it happens in mysterious and wonderful ways. I am so grateful that I get to specify this. So grateful for this experience together. So grateful for Michelle and for Lissa and for Ira and for Julia and for the whole thing of us all coming together. I am delighted, and I do say thank you, God, that this is there, and the benefits keep coming to us. Thank you, God. I release my word, and together we say, and so it is.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That was like, I love the car thing. It was so great. Oh, thank you. Okay, Julia and Ira, you're all.
Yay! Thank you so much.
We kept thinking maybe we should change our last song.
And then you mentioned it.
And then you started talking about it.
When you wish upon a star, dreams will take you very far. When you wish upon a dream, life ain't always what it seems, oh yeah. 'Cause you're a shining star, no matter who you are, shining light to see that you can truly be. You're a shining star, no matter who you are, shining light to see that you can truly be. So when you find yourself in times of need, won't you listen to these words of heed? If you're a giant or a grain of sand, words of wisdom, yes I can. You're a shining star, no matter who you are, shining light to see that you can truly be. You're a shining star, no matter who you are, shining light to see that you can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Oh, shining star, no matter who you are, shining light to see what you can truly be. You're a shining star, no matter who you are, shining light to see that you can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Woo!
I think we just woke ourselves up.
Yeah.
I don't know what just- It was- Woo!
Oh, that was fun.
God, I love singing that song. It is so much fun. Such a good reminder.
Thank you so much for that. All right, I am going to stop our recording.